Well, it's been just 2 days since the Canadian Women's Hockey League folded, and here in Calgary, the Inferno, they went from a high just over a week ago as Clarkson Cup champs to suddenly not having a place to play. The former GM, Kristen Haag, joins me tonight. So, Kristen, can you just tell us about the last 36, 48 hours, the high and then the low? How are you guys doing, your players as well?
Yeah, well, everybody's been a little bit shocked and surprised, but it didn't take very long for us to, as usual, kind of rally together and start working on figuring this out as a group.
Yeah. So there was word today about the NWHL. For those of you who don't know, that's a league in the States, kind of similar, and they said that they were looking to expand into Toronto and Montreal. Can you clear this up and what we need to know about this?
Yeah, well, I think if a lot of people are just reading headlines, they're going to see a league announcing expansion into Toronto and Montreal, and it doesn't mention Calgary, and thinking that that just means that the future of professional women's hockey in Calgary is done. But you know, we've the former GMs have all kind of collectively discussed and made a release that, you know, we're still having discussions in the background, so are the players, and everybody's going to try and explore, you know, the playing field and figure out what the best option is. So as of right now, you know, expansion isn't confirmed. It's just something that the NWHL has essentially expressed that they want to do.
Okay. How many players does this leave in the lurch?
Right now, it's 120 or 130 players that are without a place to play.
And how important is it for the game? I mean, Calgary is such a hockey town, and we've produced such great hockey players on the women's side and the men's side as well. How important is it to have somebody like the champion Calgary Inferno showing how great women's hockey can be for the growth of the game?
Yeah, and I mean, I would mostly just show somebody a video or a photo of all the, you know, the young girls that come out to watch us play. There's been a lot of messages online from parents of those kids, and they're heartbroken. I mean, these are their idols and their mentors, and I think it's really important to have those role models in our community.
Not that you have these solutions, but what do we need to do to make women's professional sport work when it comes to hockey? Because, I mean, we love hockey here in Canada.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the reaction we get from people in the community and elsewhere is that they don't necessarily even know we exist. And if they do know we exist, there's a bit of a misconception about what our team is. They don't know that we've got players from all over Canada, the U.S., you know, Europe, Asia. This is a real professional game, and we're playing the highest level of hockey. So I think we need broader exposure and the type of backing and financial support that can really push us so that more people will know about us and come out to watch.
Last year there was a push, I think it was the She Is Pledge, where it was about women in sport supporting other sports teams, whether it was the WNBA, the CWHL, the NWHL. How important is it for us to put our money where our mouth is and to go and support women's sports? Yeah,
and I think I've kind of said before that, and we obviously appreciate all the online support, but as far as support of women's hockey goes, there's a lot of armchair activism, and people want to see it succeed, but at the end of the day, they're not coming out and buying tickets, and whether that's a function of them not necessarily knowing what's going on, but I think it would be, you know, a lot more helpful if people would, you know, actually come out and watch the games and, you know, pound the pavement in support.
You have worked as a player and obviously behind the scenes as well, as a manager in the CWHL and with the Inferno. You've put a lot of hard work into this league to see it folded, and then maybe the NWHL expanding. Do you see that as good news, or were you hoping to see the CWHL thrive?
You know, I think I always knew, as somebody that's been involved, and I think a lot of the people involved with the game knew, that at some point there was going to need to be a shift and a change in order to take things to the next level. The CWHL, you know, grew a lot, but it did sort of plateau, and I suspect the same thing would likely happen with the NWHL. I think that backing from the NHL would probably be a big thing, and while we didn't necessarily want to see it happen this way, maybe this is a door opening to a new opportunity. Okay, so you're still a little optimistic. I can tell in your voice, and you saying that you're, you know, still coming up with ideas. So you're optimistic? Yeah, I mean, we're still having lots of conversations, making lots of phone calls, talking to people in the community, and yeah, we're going to try and do everything we can to make this work. All right. Anything that fans and supporters of women's hockey can do while you guys are, you know, rejigging everything? No, just, keep it relevant, keep it, in the public eye. I think a lot of the time people get, really stirred up about this for, 24 to 48 hours, and then it sort of fades out into the darkness. We just want to keep this a relevant conversation, and because it's going to be something we're working on for the coming weeks and months, and we need people to continue to support us.
All right, well, we'll leave it there on an optimistic note. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Kristen Haig, former GM of the Inferno, and hopefully there's more to come. Thanks so much, Kristen.